I do have the case number. Now, I want to be. I'm thinking the best way I can explain this. Your case is currently in progress. The case number to it, though, is now a little different. The way we do things internally, the original one you gave me was transferred over to this new format. So I want to provide you the new case number that you could use to refer to this case moving forward. So if you check in on it like a couple of days from now, or you check into it from a week from now, this would be the case number that you want to provide, not the one you gave me earlier. Your one you gave me earlier will lead to this one, but I guess you could say this one's more current, more up to date.
What's the reason for meddling with the case numbers?
It's not specific to you, though, Brandon. It's not that. We just basically made our system more efficient. And so we just moved over all open cases into this new format. The number's actually going to look just like a little higher number than the one you gave me verbally.
So you guys have created a new case, and I take it you guys closed the 104-07728 case out to create this new case?
It is literally identical. Everything was transferred perfectly as far as duplicated.
What about the date that it was opened?
This one is considered the original date. The original is the other one was created. So I have an original start date as June 8th.
June 8th. Okay, so June 8th, here we are. Let's see, what's today's date? It is July 16th. Now, in this case, if you read in there, all I am requesting, is contact information from the OGC. Now, here we are in the middle of July. This case was open June 8th, you just said. Here we are over a month later, and nobody's bothered to provide any contact information that I've requested. So, why is it that I can't get anything accomplished through you people? Why is it that none of these cases ever amount to anything but wasting my time, kicking the can down the road? You guys talk about making your systems more efficient. Well, you guys haven't been efficient at all, because all you guys have done is blow smoke up my backside and placate to the situation, if that makes sense, to allow it to continue. I've been refused service and care since September of last year, and here we are. In this case, I've gotten to the point to where I can't get people to properly communicate with me or provide contact information. And when I'm trying to address these issues with the VA with the proper quote-unquote authorities, the principal of the VA, the secretary of the VA, or in this case, because the secretary of the VA, or Dennis Richard McDonough, is so incompetent, he's passed the buck to the OGC. But the OGC is so incompetent, they can't identify themselves or refuse to for some reason. And here I am being refused care and service, and I can't even get a point of contact in 30 days. And you guys think that by changing your systems is going to make it better, right?
Again, Brandon, I can't readily say I didn't make the decision. I was just saying there was a new number I could provide you if you need to refer to it in the future.
No, I mean, I get it, Matthew. You're just doing your job. Unfortunately, that's what's causing the downfall of our society, of our civilization, of our country, is people just doing their job and not paying attention and realize that just doing their job is actually part of the problem. Because you're contributing to this malfeasance. You're contributing to the, or condoning by your position and just doing your job and ignoring the malfeasance, you're allowing it to happen. So when you become part of the problem, not part of the solution, but don't realize it, I mean, what are people like myself supposed to do with that type of a situation?
I can only say the case is still in progress, and I can make it very clear to them it's been over 30 days. You could have easily been provided contact information that you requested far sooner than the fact that you're still waiting now for that information.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the last...
what the delay is on the Office of General Counsel.
Yeah, maybe in the last, 4 cases or so that I've had to open because of this situation and have been closed out inadvertently because people at the VA hotline don't really care about the so-called resolution given. All they need is words. They don't care if it actually, makes a difference, if it's actually addressing the situation. No, it's just whatever made up information is provided is good enough to close the case out and kick the can down the road and allow me to suffer. And here I am still being refused care and service since September of last year. We're in the middle of July. Just went through Independence Day, and here I can't even get adequate basic health care from these providers at the VA for serving my country to facilitate that freedom, supposedly. It's just, words can't really describe how dysfunctional this whole system is. And I don't, for the life of me, understand how any of you think that you're actually helping. Because I can't even get a point of contact in 30 days. Why are people so incompetent that they can't provide their contact information, and then when I specifically request it, they refuse? And that's okay. We'll just create a new system and change numbers and make it more confusing, like it wasn't confusing enough already. So tell me.
I'll add in here very clearly that yes, it's unacceptable that it's been over 30 days and you still not been provided a simple contact information that you requested. But as far as the capacity of what I'm able to perform in my job, it's basically to take what the veteran says and then obviously create the case or add to the ongoing case.
Yeah. Well, when those cases aren't handled appropriately and nobody investigates the issues appropriately and these issues aren't resolved appropriately, what good is it that you're actually doing by doing your job, really? I mean, isn't the idea of the VA hotline to resolve issues that aren't able to be resolved through other traditional means?
Would be to capture the concern and route it to the appropriate party that can pull the records and then follow up and get a resolution would be probably what our role is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably what you're told, but what actually happens is different. I mean, I'm proof of it right here. I'm identifying the proof of it. The fact that since June 8th, and this is probably since September, roughly, we'll just say it's the 10th case that I've had to open regarding this situation. And at every step along the way, these so-called investigators, case handlers, whatever you call them, haven't handled the situation appropriately at all. And here I am still waiting over 30 days just for a point of contact to find out who the hell I'm supposed to speak to communicate about the situation, to resolve it. But obviously people don't want to, or not interested. Let me rephrase that. People are obviously not interested in resolving issues with the VA through the VA hotline because they keep getting ignored. And at this point, I can't even get a point of contact for someone to speak to about the fact that I've been refused care and service since September of last year. I've been allowed to suffer. Now I'm paying out of pocket for health care that I shouldn't have to. So tell me again how you guys are supposed to help, because I'm a little, having a hard time understanding how it is that you all are actually supposed to help.
I imagine there's nothing I can say that will assuage what you've experienced over the last year to 2 years.
Well, I'm just interested in your perspective and your opinion.
Attempt. All I can say is the case is still in progress. It has a case number. And as far as what I'll be adding to it is very simple, as like you said to me.
Yeah.
Requested simple contact information. It's been over 30 days. You have not been provided what you requested. The situation is not being handled properly. You need someone provided to you that you can communicate who will resolve this issue. So.
The bottom line is not only do you people not care that these cases aren't being handled appropriately, but you people don't care that I've been suffering since September of last year. I mean, you can tell me you do, and you can placate to me. You can, patronize me. But quite frankly, actions speak louder than words. And when you work for an organization that allows veterans like myself to suffer and actively, works towards obfuscating that fact and allowing myself to suffer, because, I mean, let's be real and honest. If the people working for the VA hotline or the people working for the VA in general, or specifically the Secretary of the VA, if he really cared about, veterans being refused care and service, then he would have addressed this at some point since September of last year when, or at least it's, let's see, it was March 3rd when I sent out the physical mailing to him, and he received it March 9th. So I guess if it was important to any of you all or him or any of these people in the OGC that, this situation would have been handled appropriately. But here we are, July 16th. It's been well over, was it 9 months since the initial refusal of care by Adam Jackson, the Chillicothe VA, and Patricia Haynes at the Chillicothe VA refusing to provide chiropractic and neurological consults for care that I require while I'm traveling. And instead of providing the consults like they're supposed to, they're trying to tell me that I got to travel all the way back to where they're at to be seen by their incompetent providers. And even though they still have never bothered to schedule an appointment at that facility with any of their providers. Isn't it funny? So apparently it's okay for me to be refused service and care. It's okay for me to suffer. It's okay for me to pay for my own healthcare services when I'm, the VA is supposed to be covering those. So, this is just completely backwards of what it's supposed to be. Even the automated system says that the VA hotline, when I call in, that the VA hotline is here to help with issues that have gone unresolved through other means, or whatever the wording is, verbatim. But essentially, that's the perfidy that it provides. It lies. The messaging lies and tells people like myself that you guys are here to help. But in reality, you're just here to do your job. Frankly, it seems like you could care less whether or not the cases get handled appropriately or not. You're just doing your job. You're just conveying the information. You're just taking the information, and that's it. So how is that supposed to help me get this situation resolved when you all can't even find competent people to pass these cases off to that can provide the information in a timely fashion? Here I'm just asking for a point of contact information, a name and a phone number, and possibly a mailing address. And it's taken well over 30 days to get that. And on top of that, you guys change your systems, don't even bother notifying me. I never got an email, never got a phone call, nothing. So here you are doing manipulations in the background without my knowledge, not even notifying me. And I got to find out after the fact when I call in to find out what the hell's going on because nobody's bothered to reach out to me to let me know. So again, explain to me how this is supposed to... sorry for talking while you're interrupting. Explain to me how this is supposed to help veterans and specifically veterans like myself.
Okay, so as far as what would you like me to add to the ongoing concern? I'll make it clear. As far as the delay is unacceptable to you. As far as
unacceptable to me. It should be acceptable to anybody. What the hell is wrong with you? It should be unacceptable to anybody. Unacceptable to me. How dare you patronize me?
Brandon, I'm not patronizing you.
By putting it in that context that it bothers me, like it's only it's like it's not a problem. It's like I'm the problem. That's how you're describing it. Because instead of saying that it's a problem that there's been this delay, it's that how did you word it? The delay is a problem for me or whatever. It's unacceptable to me. No, it's unacceptable to any standard whatsoever. How in the hell is people supposed to get resolutions when the people that are supposed to be providing the resolutions refuse to communicate? Answer that for me.
These are answers I don't have, Brandon.
You refuse to answer them because you know what the truth is. And you know that I'm speaking the truth. And then if you have an honest conversation with me, you may lose your job. That's the problem. You're just performing for your paycheck, ignoring all the harm that's being caused.
Please, I'm trying to help you as best as
I'm trying to help you
as far as
too.
the role I'm provided. But Brandon,
I'm trying to be the voice of reason.
Brandon, you already know this next part, okay?
I don't care. Yeah, you're gonna tell me some bullshit.
You're only allowed one call per 24 hours.
Really? Are you a Jew?
This not to generate this into conflict. Allow me to update the case. Allow me to give you the
It already
case
is
number.
conflict. You
Allow me
guys
to
already
make this,
degenerated.
Let me make this a productive call. So you
Really?
don't have to wait 24 hours
You
from
sound like a
now
Jew.
to have to attempt another contact.
Are you in whining?
Brandon, how can I help you?
I've been asking you. I've been letting you know, but you're refusing. You keep talking in circles, and now here we are. You're just trying to frustrate me so you can find a reason to end the call.
No,
That's all you
that is
people
not what's
do.
happening.
That's
I'm
all you
trying
people
to
do is
find
you
a way to
escalate.
move this call forward, Brandon.
Okay, then let's talk about the facts. That's what I've been trying to address, for the record.
All right, so this is what I'm adding. That you're upset it's been over 30 days and you still not provided the simple contact
Oh,
information
so now
that
you're
you've
being petty.
requested. The situation is not being handled properly. The veteran needs to communicate with someone who's going to resolve this matter. He's experiencing a refusal of medical care from the VA. The veteran states the denial in service and care is the VA basically saying it's okay that he suffers.
Okay, now, is that what you actually wrote?
That is what I wrote.
Okay. Now, with that being said, does it not bother you that these cases haven't been handled properly since September of last year, and that I've had to suffer, and that here I've had to wait over 30 days just for a simple point of contact at the OGC, which they should have provided in the last couple of cases that they closed out?
Brandon, it bothers me, yes, that you've had to make multiple concerns and you still see no resolution.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just was checking for posterity's sake. Because at this point, I don't know what to think. I mean, I can't get any resolution through the VA hotline. The VA refuses to cooperate, refuses to communicate even. And here now, they're the OGC, who supposedly, according to the secretary of the VA, or one of these idiots that don't understand what the hell they're doing, says it's supposed to handle the situation, but clearly they're not interested in communicating to resolve the issue, because they're obfuscating their identity. They're refusing to identify themselves on the so-called resolutions that they provide, even though the resolutions that they provide, in the so-called resolutions that they provide, they ask for the same information that was already provided multiple times prior. So it's just comical to me that anybody thinks that this system, if you will, is functional. Because I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. I'm not talking about someone hurt my feelings, somebody called me a name or misgendered me or something stupid like that. I'm talking about refusal of care, refusal of service. This is a violation of a Hippocratic oath. These providers are committing crimes. They're stealing from the VA, but nobody seems to care. Not even care enough to communicate with me to find out more, clarify more information about the situation. No, it's just ignore. Let's kick the can down the road and hope that it goes away, I guess. So, but I'm here to tell you that it's not going away, because this conversation is going to get posted publicly. So that way the public can see what the VA is doing to us veterans. So you just got your 15 seconds of
What
fame.
I mentioned earlier, was that acceptable? What was that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You actually quizzed me, questioned me. Was that what you actually put into the case notes and added to it? What I read out loud to you more than maybe just 3-4 minutes ago.
You're asking me if I put them in the case notes?
No, I read to you my notes I added to the case, and you asked me, is that what you put in there? I said yes.
Okay, so what's your point?
Was it acceptable?
I mean, not entirely, but this whole entire thing it's not acceptable. I mean, I could be petty and go back and make you change different things and words and not be, disparaging or pejorative towards me by making it sound like it's just me that's got a problem.
There was nothing I said in those was disparaging to you.
Yeah, well, by characterizing the situation as, I have a problem with it, or that it bothers me. Not that it's a problem for the organization, not that it's a lack of standards, not that it's a violation of standards, by the way. Not to mention that it's a dereliction of duty, um, as well as perfidy by creating a situation where they act like they're here to help, but in fact they're really causing more problems. It's a breach of trust, a breach of contract. It's acting in bad faith. That's what these people are doing. But here I am having arguments with you about the cases that are supposed to be getting resolved properly but aren't. So I find it comical to me that instead of these cases just getting handled appropriately, we've got to have these so-called debates or arguments or dissertations, discussions, however you want to characterize them. But see, wouldn't it be easier if the cases were just handled appropriately the first time instead of dragging this out and forcing me to suffer? And but I guess that's the agenda, force people to suffer, because then eventually not only does it lead to bigger health problems potentially, but also mental health issues. So is that, I guess it's safe to say that's the agenda here, is force people to suffer until it becomes a mental health issue, so that way they can either take their lives or just take their freedoms from them entirely. But this is part of the system that you support by just doing your job and performing for a paycheck. I don't know if you realize this, but I'm here to shine some light on the subject for you. So it's up to you to make the decision. You can lie to yourself all you want.
Allow me to read my notes one more time to you that I've added the concern.
Thanks for
And
interrupting.
then from there, we'll proceed from there.
Yeah.
So you're upset that it's been over 30 days regarding this concern, and still you have not been provided the simple contact information that you've requested. The situation is not being handled properly. The veteran needs to be able to have someone provide who he can communicate who will resolve this matter. He is experiencing a refusal of medical care from the VA. Veteran states a denial in service and care, as the VA basically saying it's okay that he suffers. Veteran states the VA is refusing to communicate. He's filed multiple concerns, provided clear detail on what he's experienced, and yet the VA continues to not respond. It is a violation, a breach of trust, and is the VA acting in bad faith. He states his medical providers are committing a crime, and the VA wants to ignore this in the hopes he will go away.
Yeah, and you can add in there the crime that you're referring to, or crimes rather, is not only fraud, because these people are taking the position and not providing the services, so they're technically committing fraud, but then also they're committing theft because they're stealing from the VA. They're accepting the title and position and the pay and all the benefits that come with that position and title, but they're not providing the services that they're supposed to that are part of their job description. So make sure you outline the crimes are theft and fraud. Based on the fact that, like I stated, when they don't provide the services that they're supposed to according to their job description, they're stealing from the VA and they're committing fraud by accepting that position but not providing the services.
Alright, so these crimes are fraud and theft. These VA medical providers are accepting the VA's pay, but they're not providing the veterans the medical care and services that they are paid to perform.
Yeah, that's good enough. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's going to make a difference at this point because nobody's really paid attention to any of the complaint cases or notes or updates that I've provided. Nobody's cared up into this point, so I feel like I'm just wasting my time and wasting my breath at this point. Because, I mean, after all, the original case was given 30 days to be resolved. And here we are, middle of July.
The current target date now is July 24th.
Oh, that's nice. So they give themselves almost 2 months when they're only supposed to have 30 days, when they could have easily provided the information in the last complaint case resolution, or so-called resolution, but they failed.
But what we're looking at, obviously, is you and and I are having this conversation July 16th. So it looks like they're
Right.
down to 8 days.
Well, sure. I mean, you can put it in that context, but let's go back to September of last year, or for that matter, if you want to give them credit at all, let's go to March. Since March, I've been trying to communicate with these people, and they've failed. They're so utterly incompetent that they can't even communicate effectively from March of this year until current. And I'm still having to have these dissertations and debates and arguments with people like you just to get basic contact information that should have been provided already. So this is even more evidence of harassment and abusive process, because now these people, whether it's the secretary of the VA or the people in the OGC or whomever is directly responsible, all they're doing is obfuscating. All they're doing is ignoring the problem and kicking the can down the road. Because they obviously don't want to resolve the issue. If they wanted to resolve the issue, it would have been resolved a long time ago. But here I am in the middle of July, over 9 months later, and I'm still being refused care and services, and I can't even get a point of contact from you people. This is how ridiculous the system is, and this is how ridiculous you people in general are, that I can't even get a point of contact in a timely fashion, let alone get an actual, situation resolved, even though there's crimes being committed by VA providers. It's very eye-opening. Maybe you don't realize or never realized that, the organization that you work for, but, once you become aware of the problem, it's up to you to do something about it. And you can either, change the situation for the better for yourself, or you can continue to work for an organization that allows people to suffer. But, quite frankly, that karma's on your shoulders because it's your decision. If you continue to work for an organization that allows people to hurt, that harms people, or doesn't care that they do, or whatever, turns a blind eye to it, however you want to characterize it, well, that karma's going to be built up on your life, right? That's how it works. So I just want to make sure you understand this, because I care about people. I don't know you. I don't know you personally, but, as a fellow man, I feel obligated to make people aware of the situation that they're in, and allow them to make decisions that put themselves in better positions. Because quite frankly, I'm sure you could probably find a job making the same amount of money, probably doing less work, and probably providing more help to veterans if that's what you're, if that's what you're looking after or wanting to do for a living, so to speak. So, excuse me. It's just a shame that I have to have these conversations, because people don't have the wherewithal and the ability to think for themselves to, realize these things.
I see your line of thought.
Yeah. Well, it really is just a shame. It's a shame that we're in the situation that we're in, and nobody really seems to care to fix it. Everybody's just going along to get along and performing for paychecks, and I wonder how long that's going to last. Typically when the ostrich leaves its head in the sand and doesn't want to look around to see what's going on, usually it's that ostrich that gets eaten first. So if it's not the vaccine, if it's not the food, if it's not the toxic substances in our water or any of that stuff that gets you, who knows what it'll be. But it's just amazing. We live in a society where we're surrounded by people that are allowing and causing and condoning harm, and most can't even see it. It's quite baffling, actually, how right in people's faces, right there in their face, and they still don't even realize what's going on, because they're just that far out to lunch, or maybe they just don't have that many brain cells left. It's hard to say these days.
And Brandon, is there anything else I can assist you with this morning?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, I've asked you to help me understand why, it's so dysfunctional, why, this is the process, but you don't have any answers for me, so.
I apologize for that. As far as the policymakers and those that makes the decisions on how we should proceed in doing things, they're far above my standing.
So the policymakers, they allow people to obfuscate their identity and not provide proper contact information and allow this process of abuse. That's what the policymakers are doing. Is that what you're telling me?
As far as I'm telling you is I just don't have any answers that would assuage you.
Right, but based on your answer, what you said is that the policymakers, they make these decisions and so forth. So what you're telling me is that the policymakers are the ones that are deciding to allow this sort of harm to continue or not address the crimes of the VA providers appropriately. That's basically what you're conveying to me by giving me that answer. Because
I apologize. I didn't mean to convey something so detailed. It's only that as far as how the process that's laid out on how they pursue, look into, and then ultimately resolve these issues.
right.
It's not something I'm immediately part of other than the very beginning when I'm able to capture the veteran's words.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to identify and clarify, rather, that, based on this experience with the VA hotline and the multiple complaint cases, I would say easily 9 or 10 cases that I've had to open and have been inappropriately closed out since September of last year, since the initial refusal of care and service. In that process of the cases not being handled appropriately and this whole thing of being allowed to drag out, basically what you're telling me is that the policy makers are, they're allowing this. This is their doing, basically, what you're telling me. Because if this was going according to policy, then I think there probably would have been a proper resolution provided a long time ago. But the fact of the matter is that these so-called investigators, case handlers, whatever you guys call them, they're not handling these cases appropriately. So it would seem that what they're doing is a violation of policy, but you're using policy as an excuse to excuse away the extreme delay in resolution, or just.
I'm guessing now, after having you explain it that way, is probably a poor choice of words on my part.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to, think about the words that you're using before you use them. Don't just spout out any nonsense. Yeah. We have a personal responsibility, each of us, to, know what we're saying. What's we're coining your words or purse your lips. So, when you all give me information that, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, no matter what, I guess you were trying to convey, I guess you could consider it a Freudian slip, that based on what you told me is that the policymakers are allowing this. And so I'll take it at face value.
This is what I wanted to convey. I have no explanation why the policy said its way or handled it is. So as far as I can't explain policy on that part.
Okay, I never asked you to, but since you brought that up, whom is in charge of making sure that these processes are according to policy?
The Office of the Inspector General, maybe? Or maybe the appointed at the time of the administration chooses, like Dennis McDonough at the time, the Secretary of the VA.
Yeah, and what if they're failing miserably? Not only failing miserably at holding the standards within the organization that they're supposed to be in charge of, but hell, these people, Dennis Richard McDonough, can't even receive and hold on to a physical mailing. He apparently lost the mailing that I sent out March 3rd. That was received March 9th. I got the signature card back from the mailing because I sent it certified mail return receipt. So I know it was received. But these people are so stupid that they lost the package. So they lose the mailing that I sent out trying to communicate through physical mail. They refuse to provide contact information through these multiple complaint cases that I've had to file with the VA hotline to attempt to, address these crimes and this malfeasance being, conducted, being performed by the VA providers. And I still can't even get a point of contact. So it's very telling to me, based on what you've told me and based on my experience. It's very telling that the VA isn't interested in resolving these issues. The VA isn't interested in actually providing adequate health care to veterans and, upholding a standard, apparently, which is just kind of ironic because after all the training and the upholding of standards in the military that us veterans have to go through to then get out of the military and have to deal with this type of an organization that doesn't give a damn about standards. It's quite puzzling, in fact. I would think that, based on the fact that the VA is supposed to serve, obviously, primarily veterans, and most veterans go through training, rigorous training that, sets standards and forces them to uphold certain standards in their lives and so forth. I would think that the VA would want to, essentially provide some of those same types of standards, or make it as seamless as a transition as possible out of the military into the civilian world. But I guess it's, what's the phrase, out of the frying pan into the oven? I guess it just doesn't matter when nobody cares about standards, because then anything's good. Any information is a good resolution. It doesn't matter if it resolves the problem or not, according to the VA hotline. So I'm just trying to comprehend how it is that you all are supposed to help us veterans when this is the type of experience that us veterans are getting, when we can't get anything resolved through you people. Seems like to me that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, right? It's one or the other. There really is no gray area. Would you agree with that?
Again, as far as agreeing, all I can really say is that I hear your argument. I see how it makes sense as you experienced it, because your point of view, obviously you've been treated very poorly, and you still are. A simple request for a point of contact being delayed, not being given to you, your multiple VA concerns with no resolution. As you stated, this entire matter being dragged out for you, the loss of information that you did your due diligence and provided to the VA, not only just the VA, but sent to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to do besides maybe send up some smoke signals, but obviously if they haven't paid attention up until this point, they're not going to pay attention to the smoke signals. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. So I guess I will just, include this recording in my lawsuit if I have to file it. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking that's probably what I'm going to be forced to do, because the VA obviously doesn't want to cooperate. Dennis Richard McDonough obviously doesn't want to cooperate. The people, the OGC doesn't want to cooperate. You all are just here to waste my time, apparently, even though you have some different opinions of that.
Is there anything else I can assist you with, Brandon, before I go?
Yeah, what's this new super secret case number that you guys changed and didn't bother letting me know?
I have it here on hand. If you have a way to take it down, I'll give it to you.
Now, is this complaint case information going to be emailed to me like the original when the case was opened?
As far as I'm verbally providing you the case number now, but the initial email, I imagine no, there wasn't one sent out. This is
interesting.
Whenever you ready?
Well, before you give me the number, I also want to address, and maybe you can add this into the notes, that when you all make changes, well, I guess I'm just kind of wasting my time, because this goes back to the lack of communication. Because if you guys were interested in resolving these issues, you guys would communicate properly. I mean, hell, how hard is it to get the system to automatically send out an email, just like it does when the complaint case is opened, to notify me of the fact that there's been a change to the complaint case, but that hadn't happened. So, but now all of a sudden we're going to ignore all that, and because you're now going to provide it to me verbally, we're just going to, it's all okay, right? So you don't.
I believe what they consider it was transferred to a new system. It wasn't the opening of a new case. It's the previous existing case that they're working.
But it's not. They changed it. It's a different case because it has a new case number.
A reference number that I'm going to provide you now.
Oh, so now it's a reference number. Is it a reference number or a case number?
Case number, reference number, whatever you prefer.
No. I need to know what it is.
Previous one.
I need to know what you guys consider it internally, because if you guys consider it a case number, it means you guys changed the case. If it's a reference number, it means you guys are just referencing the change. So what is it listed?
Case number.
Okay, then that means that you guys changed the case. So this means that it's a new case. What?
Brandon, you ready for the case number?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It's 1100 1249. Just to repeat all together, it's 1100 1249.
Okay. Now, are you able to email that to me, or is the system able to email that to me?
No, I have to verbally provide you as I did just now.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll just take this as more obfuscation.
Understood. Now, Brandon, of course, just track the time. It's currently 6:31 a.m. on the East Coast, so Eastern Standard Time.
Are you going to patronize me
now? The next call where assistance can be provided would be 24 hours from now.
Yeah, see, that's patronizing. You don't need to tell me something I'm already aware of. But see, that just, it validates what I'm saying, because it's abusive process. By continuing to throw it in my face.
I brought it up only just the second time during the entirety of this call, which...
Yeah, but you didn't need to. I didn't ask about it. I didn't allude, or I didn't, suggest I'm going to call back or anything like that. So there was no reason to, other than just to be pejorative towards me and to belittle me, to let me know that you all have control, that you guys don't really care about the complaint cases, and not only that, you guys are going to control me and tell me when I can call in and can't. See, that's how ridiculous this is. But you all can't even see it.
I apologize, Brandon, but at this point I believe there's really no other service I can provide this morning to you, so I'm going to thank you for calling.
Well, that's typical. Way to go. Way to just, shirk all your responsibilities, ignore all the malfeasance, and just hang up the call because you don't give a damn. Yeah, just stop lying to me.
Brandon,
just stop feeding me. Stop blowing smoke up my backside.
I spent over 45 minutes with you, Brandon.
Oh, you got paid, didn't you?
So no, I didn't ignore you. I took down your notes.
You got paid to talk to me on the phone, buddy. You didn't do it for free. So don't act like you're doing me any favors. Grow up.
You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, whatever, loser.